morning. I don't know if that was like a sign of how this message is going to go, that this thing just fell out of the TV. I don't know. So if something happens, we're just going to leave, okay? My name is Katie. I'm the associate pastor here. If we haven't met, there's a ton of you that seem like you have new faces to me. So if we haven't met, I apologize. But I'm the associate pastor here. I also teach 8th grade history. So if I have to throw in some Abraham Lincoln stuff, just go with it, okay? I always throw in the Jonas Brothers as well. Just go with it, okay? No judgment here, all right? But we're in week 4 of being real. And I'm excited because today we're going to be talking about conflict. Yay! Y'all are all liars. Oh, man. So I just wanted, y'all love conflict apparently, so apparently y'all have beef with somebody. All right, for my older friends in the room, that just means you got some issues with somebody, right? My younger friends used to say this saying, we need to throw hands. Okay, and I used to do this at Jarvis. He would make me mad, but we've worked out our differences since then, but I would just take my hand and just start throwing, But that means we're ready to fight, and I was having this conversation with my kid. She's 15, and she knows things that I don't understand, and we were talking about conflict, and she says, oh, you about to catch a case? And I was like, a case of Dr. Pepper? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. And she was like, no, like a court case. And I was like, right, my bad. So yeah, don't be doing that, okay? Hopefully you're not in that much of conflict with someone. But I promised I would put that in for her today. So she's volunteering at Kids Church, which, by the way, shameless plug. We've had a lot of kids, okay? If you have a heart for kids, we would love for you to volunteer because we are having children out the wazoo, which we love. But Miss Amy could use some help. So if you're interested, there you go, okay? That's where my kid is at right now. So she doesn't know that. I'll tell her I put this in, okay? But conflict is a part of life, right? And sometimes I've noticed that it's sometimes the people that we love the most that we have the most conflict with, right? Because you're around those people all the time and you're like, please just get away from me. But have you ever been in a situation with a friend or family member that hurt you in some way? Okay, now let me tell you what this message is not. This message is not you having to go to your worst enemy and try to make things better. Okay, that's not what I'm here for. Scotty can preach on that, okay? That's not what this is about. This isn't about going to someone that makes you feel unsafe or has really, really badly done some damage. I'm not talking about that person today. I'm talking about people that you have in your everyday life that maybe sometimes unintentionally or even they might intentionally hurt you at some point. You guys don't have anybody in your life like that, right? That's good. Okay, we'll leave then. Let's just go home. All right. But there used to be this saying, I don't know if people still do this, but I remember yelling this at people on the playground. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Lies. Okay, lies. Words are incredibly destructive. I teach middle schoolers, and they are so mean. Even to me sometimes, I'm like going home and I'm like, that was really hurtful, but how can you have that conversation with a 13-year-old when they literally do not care, right? But my question today, what we're going to be talking about is how do you respond when someone you love hurts you? Okay, again, I'm not talking about your very worst enemy or someone that's really done something hurtful to you. That's a whole different process. And if you want to make amends, that's a whole different process. I'm talking about the people that you're surrounded with every single day. Because should we just lose every friendship? And some of you are like, yes, yes, we should. Or how do we move on from the hurt? Because it's not a good time to feel hurt, okay? And I'm going to share something with you. I am the queen of holding grudges. I've been a queen of that land for 31 years. I rule very hard in my queendom. But it's difficult for me, I'm a one and done type of person. My friend Katie says, you're an all in or you're an all out. And I'm usually all out, okay? Especially when somebody hurts me. And so how do we move on from the hurt? Or more specifically, using our core value today, how do we be real in conflict? When I really want to punch you in the face, but that's not what the Lord has called me to do, right? Last time I checked. So I've got some tips for us today. This is going to feel like maybe a little bit of a TED Talk, but really it's just going to be some practical tips that we can live our lives by, so we're not constantly, yes, we may be hurt, but we can move on from the hurt. We don't always have to stay in the hurt zone, all right? So that's my goal today, is to move us from a place where we're hurt to maybe mending the hurt, all right? So first, I want to tell you this. Avoiding transparency is going to foster resentment and hinders resolution in relationships. Okay, I'm queen of grudges. I learned it honestly by my mother. She knows it. She's fine. Okay, but it does. It leads to resentments and it hinders resolution. And we want to be fixers as Christians. We're not called to live a life where we alienate those around us. That would be awkward and weird. What would be the point, all right? So I want to fix this today. I don't want us to be in a place where we can't be real and we can't fix the hurt that's happening, all right? So we're going to go way back, okay, to where the dinosaurs and Bill Fowler was there. He's not here today, so I have to give him a hard time, okay? But he was there. And we're going to talk about some real big conflict in the Bible, and you may know them as Cain and Abel. Okay, and so Cain and Abel are I nearly said daughters, that's weird, the sons of Adam and Eve. Okay, so that's just your little bit of context. And when they grew up, Abel became a shepherd while Cain cultivated the ground. When it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of his crops as a gift to the Lord. Okay, so keyword there, I highlighted it for you so you don't have to do the hard part today, some. Okay. And then we have Abel, who also brought a gift, the best. Can you say best? Okay, y'all are good. Portions of the firstborn lamb from his flock. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. And this made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. All right, so when I first began to really read the Bible to try and understand what the heck is going on in this whole story, I love the Jesus part. You know, you feel me? I love the New Testament, but the Old Testament was just kind of confusing for me, especially this story, because my question was, why would God accept Abel's gift but not Cain's? Right? That's where the conflict is going to begin. And here's the best solution. Abel gave the best, Cain only gave some. Okay, this isn't a part of my message, but maybe we should just be giving God our best. Maybe that would have fixed everything, right? All right, so the Lord, having no problem being real with anyone, says, why are you so angry? Why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Now look at what God says next. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master. Now it would be an opportunity maybe for a message about sin, but that's not really what I'm looking for here. What you need to know is that the resentment that you hold, the grudges that we hold, is an opportunity for sin to come knocking. Okay? So if we're unwilling to be transparent, if we're unwilling to be real about the conflict in our life, guess who shows up? The devil. Okay, and the devil wants separation. The devil loves alienation. He loves to make you feel like that's a really good decision, when in reality, and what you're going to see in this next part of the scripture, not a good time. All right. So one day, Cain suggested to his brother, let's go out into the fields. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Welcome to conflict. Right, but here's the crazy part, okay? Cain is not in conflict with Abel. Abel is not the one that called Cain out and said, your giving to the Lord was terrible. He didn't. Who called Cain out? It was the Lord. Okay? When we aren't real with our conflict, and what did the Lord say? Look, if you will just do what is right, guess what's going to happen? Good things. But Cain couldn't accept that. He couldn't do it. And so he bled on someone that didn't hurt him. And he killed his brother over it. Now, hopefully you're not in a conflict where you're ready to kill someone. If so, you just scan that QR code and we would love to help you, okay? You should get that figured out today before you leave, okay? But this story would have been different if Cain would have been real about what was going on. Okay, real with the Lord and saying, man, I'm so sorry. Maybe an apology would have made him feel better. Maybe talking to Abel and maybe just saying like, the Lord called me out about this and I feel like you're trying to show me up. Like, can we fix this? But instead, sin was waiting and crouching at the door. So what I want to tell you is that it's important to be honest about what's going on and do it quickly or sin is waiting. Here's what I know. Okay, I don't know what I don't know. That's right. So if I'm hurting you and you're not saying anything, what do you want me to do about that? You want me to just like read your mind and fix the problem? Like, Scotty always makes this joke, I'm the associate pastor, and if we abbreviated it, you know, that would fit me perfectly, right? That's kind of rude, okay? But I don't know what I don't know. So if I'm being that way towards you, I need to know so I can fix it. I don't know what I don't know. Abel didn't know. Abel had no idea probably that his brother was having this conflict with the Lord, or maybe he did, and Abel was like, man, that stinks for you. Like, I had a good sacrifice. I gave what I was supposed to. And Cain was like, I'm gonna kill you because I'm mad at the Lord. That's what happens in our world. Being real in conflict requires that we take responsibility of our feelings. But here's the other piece of advice I want to give you today. When being real in conflict, only focus on the issue at hand. Okay? Sometimes being the queen of grudge land leads me to not only hold grudges, but then I start making up stuff about the people that I'm holding a grudge with. So if somebody hurts me, I'm like, well, they're also a terrible person and they probably, steal stuff. I don't even know. Like, I just start making stuff up. I know you guys aren't like that because you're probably a better Christian than I am. But like, when I'm holding a grudge, I just start making up these like false things in my mind about this person. Okay, so I'm going to share a story with you today. I'm going to be real. I've been a teacher for 9 years. I think they would call that being a veteran, which makes me feel old. But I love what I do most days. It is getting harder, so call your representative. That's all I got to say. And we have this evaluation system, and I kill it every time, okay? And a few years ago, it was more than a few, probably like 6 or 7 years ago, the state of Texas changed the way we were evaluated. And if you're a really good teacher, you get the word proficient. Like, that makes you feel like dirt. Like, I'm really proficient at this. Thank you so much, state of Texas, right? And so I usually get proficient or better, okay? I don't even know the words above proficient because you usually don't get them. It's very hard to. But for the first time in my teaching career, I got the word developing, okay? That's not a good word. It's not. It means that you're not doing something right. And I got really bitter about it. I got really, really angry about it because for 8+ years, I've been killing it. And then suddenly I'm not. And so I'm really angry about it. Queen of grudge holding, here I am. And so then I just started making up these things about not only myself, of how terrible of a teacher I am, but also like how awful of an administration I have and how they were in the wrong. And it like really began to come into our personal relationship. And I really love my principal. I have nothing against her. I think she's a phenomenal person, but it was all because of me that this was developing, the conflict of this system, which is dumb. All right. And so it continued to happen. And I was just like I did the worst of the worst. I talked to my coworkers and I was just like, she's the worst. And they were like, yeah, like we were all very angry about it. And, this is how I know the Lord has done a little bit of work in my life, because the Lord was like, this is wrong. You need to go speak to her. And when I went and spoke to her, it wasn't an attack on her character, because that would have gotten me nowhere. She's a great person. Has nothing to do with her character. But sometimes when we're in conflict, we take it very personal and we make them a bad person when really maybe they just accidentally said something they didn't really mean, or it's the heat of the moment, or that's this stupid evaluation system that you have to get everyone in your classroom to be doing all the great things and 3 people were not. And I was very bitter about it, okay? And so when I had this conversation, I just spoke very frankly, and I was like, listen, I've been a terrible person, and I've been really angry at you and holding this grudge against you, and it's affecting our working relationship, and I just need to let you know that I'm sorry. All right? And she said to me, though, I won't forget it, she said, you can be mad at me. And I, like, that's, what kind of friendship would that be if I'm just always mad at you? All right. And so I just said, no, like, I'm mad that you gave me this developing, but like, I'm going to move forward. And I apologize for what I've done to create this animosity between us. And it was a really hard conversation. Like, I wanted to cry because I don't really love conflict. I just like to hold grudges. But if this person is going to remain in my life, if she's going to continue to be my boss, I better fix it, or my life's going to be miserable, and I'm going to be miserable with her, right? And so it didn't fix everything. Like, I still am pretty hard on myself. I'm still trying to figure out, like, how to make things better in my classroom and not get this developing on my file that nobody looks at ever, but I need it off of it immediately because I'm a perfectionist, right? And I've always been great at my job, and here I am not being great at 9 years, right? It's a lot. And Jesus speaks directly to this in Matthew. Jesus says, if another believer sins against you, go privately and point out the offenses. Okay, I think sometimes in conflict, we're so heated about the moment that I'm willing to call you out in front of everybody, right? There's moments, and that's why people get in fights. I don't know if you've ever been in a middle school fight. It's awesome. And you just like try to break it up, but like somebody's gonna get hurt, right? But that's why it happens, because it's festered so long. They've been the grudge holders for so long that they've got to get all this pent up aggression out, and then it's in front of everybody, and that's awkward, right? But Jesus says, no. If you've got a problem, you need to go privately and point out the offense. Okay? Notice that he doesn't say go out and tell them how terrible of a person they are. Don't go out and tell them how awful they are and their character is terrible because they did this one thing to you. No, he just says point out the offense. And sometimes that's hard because we're so hurt, right? It feels personal. Like I felt victimized that I was a developing person. No, like that wasn't it at all. Like, she wasn't calling anything out about me as a person. It was just something that I need to work on in my classroom, right? She pointed out the offense, and I pointed out the offense when I had this conversation with her that I have been the terrible person in this, and she wasn't. I didn't attack her character, right? When we're in conflict, it's important to just point out what you're upset about. They're probably not a terrible person. If you love them and they're a part of your life, you probably like them for something. And if you don't, maybe it's time to reevaluate, okay? And then he says, if the other person listens and confesses it, you've won that person back. I've found that 9 times out of 10, people are super understanding. When I say, hey, like, what you said to me, like, that really hurt me. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean it that way. Like, I'm so sorry, right? I've lived with Katie Cockrum for 10 years now. All right, she's my bestie for the restie, and she's the greatest person in the world. I consider her my sister because I didn't have any because my parents just wanted me because I'm perfect. And honestly, they probably only had me because they knew I'd hold too many grudges, and so that was just too much to handle, right? But Katie and I are very different. I know you probably don't know this, right? People often refer to her as the nice Katie. I don't understand that because I'm nice too, just differently, right? And when we first began to live together, we had to navigate our different personalities. So a little bit about me, I'm a long processor and I like to get angry really quickly about stuff. But after that, I'm good, okay? Katie, her personality is she's a very quick processor and immediately wants to, I need to help you. How can I help you? Okay, so this became a problem because I really needed to be angry about stuff and all Katie wanted to do was to fix it. And I'm like, no. I need to be furious for 5 minutes. And it actually created a lot of conflict between us because she just wanted to help me and I just want to be angry. Okay, so that's a true story, okay? We literally had to have a conversation about this because not only was I angry about the situation, I was now getting angry at her, okay? Because I don't want your help. I just need to be mad, all right? So now she knows, I come home, I'm upset about something. She allows me to be angry. Sometimes we get angry together, and then she's like, okay, so how are we gonna fix this? Okay, so we just gotta get past that, right? It was a conflict that could have potentially ended our friendship if I wouldn't have opened my big mouth and said, you're making me angry, all right? And so we fixed it. All right, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be super understanding. You've just gotta own your part and go to them and say, hey, you hurt me. If you're hurt by someone, it is on you to go to that person. And I know, like, that stinks. It shouldn't work that way. It should be the responsibility of the person that hurt you to come and apologize. Listen, I don't know what I don't know. Okay? And sometimes I can be a real jerk, and I realize that about myself. However, I don't know that I'm always being a jerk in the moment. And sometimes I say things, and I'm like, crap. And then I go and apologize, and I see it. But sometimes I don't know my jerkiness. Sometimes I'm just in a bad mood. All right? And sometimes people just need to call that out on me, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. Okay? If you are hurt by someone, it is on you to go to that person. Because I guarantee they probably don't know. And if they do know, maybe they don't need to be your friend anymore. All right? Now, here's the other thing. If you're going to prove a point, don't go. Okay? So, like, if you're going to one-up them, if you're going to, you're going just to say, hey, I hate you and you're the worst, don't go. Okay? Then obviously the relationship's not worth it to you, and you should probably just, like, go to therapy. Okay? If you're going to prove a point, don't go. Here's what my man Paul says. He says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other. Okay, so yeah, I understand that maybe you were hurt by someone, and maybe it was intentional, maybe it was unintentional, but how do I respond to that? And Paul says, you got to get rid of all that rage and all that anger and all that holding it against them, and you have to be kind. You have to be tenderhearted. Maybe they're just having a bad day. And that's kind of hard to think about when you're the hurt one. It's kind of hard to empathize when you're being hurt, right? Forgiving one another. Okay, again, this isn't a message about your worst enemy, all right? I understand there are some things that happen and you just can't go back. I get that. I understand that. This is not that message. This is about people that are in your life 24/7, all right? Just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you. You've got to get rid of, if I'm bringing all this anger, all this bitterness into this conversation where I'm telling someone that they've hurt me, it's probably not going to go well, right? If we are approaching someone in anger or rage or bitterness, do we think the relationship is going to be fixed? Right? If I walk into the room and I'm like, you made me mad. Cool. It's not going to get fixed, right? And that's what we want as Christians, as believers. If you are saying this morning that you love Jesus, the responsibility is on you to fix it. And the responsibility is to go in tenderhearted and kind and loving. Because here's what I've realized. Conflict doesn't have to be the end of the relation. It could be the beginning of something new, okay? It doesn't always have to wreck you. It doesn't always have to be the ending of all endings. If they don't know, they don't know. And it's up to you as a person who I would think would want to save the relationship if they're that close to you. It's on you to go. All right, so to end this message, we're going to do something a little bit different today, okay? We're going to take it back to 8th grade, and we're going to practice, all right? So let's say you're mad at someone. Not that you would ever be that mad, just me, right? You're holding a grudge, okay? Here's a little script. Simple, easy, okay? It's not this easy. You got to work yourself up about it first, okay? I had a conflict with someone one time, and I was in therapy, and it took me 3 weeks to get up the emotional readiness to go and confront this person, because it's hard. It's not an easy thing, but we can start here. Hey, the other day we disagreed, and I felt like you said blank, okay? And it hurt my feelings. Can you explain what you meant? It's always nice to ask questions because it gives the other person an opportunity to respond and explain. Okay? So, hey, the other day we disagreed and I felt like you said I was a loser and it hurt my feelings. What did you mean by that? 9 times out of 10, they don't think you're a loser. Okay, maybe it was in the middle of a very intense game of Mario Party like it was at my house last night, and I was yelling at my child, okay? She was being bad, all right? None of those things that I said in the middle of that game meant anything hurtful, all right? I didn't say anything hurtful. It wasn't that intense, all right? But we were yelling at each other, all right? At conflict management, right? 9 times out of 10, people don't know that they've hurt you. And if you want them to be aware, if you want to fix the relationship, it has to start with a conversation. Do you notice how nothing in this script says you are wrong? You're a terrible person. I hate you. None of that's in there because that doesn't fix relationships. It starts with a simple conversation when I'm nice and calm. All right, I processed, I was angry at home, but you didn't see that, okay? And I can go in with a nice little conversation. Hey, the other day we disagreed. Can you tell me a little bit about that? All right. We're in the middle of probably the most intense political situation that we've been in a while. We're in the middle where people are sensitive, okay? I'm not going to use the word snowflake because I think that's rude, okay? People are sensitive. They have feelings. And if I say something that's offensive, I need to know so I don't say it again. Okay? It starts with a conversation. Hey, the other day you kicked me and that hurt. Can you not do that again? That's a simple conversation, right? I don't enjoy being kicked. Words hurt just as much. And if you care about someone in your life, it's worth it to have a conversation when you're calm. All right? So what did we learn today? Okay? Number 1, we're going to be transparent. Okay? We don't need any of this Cain and Abel situation because somebody's going to end up dead. And we see it all the time on the news. It's true. This is what happens in real life. Wouldn't it be easier just to have a conversation? Step 2, we want to call out the issue, not the character. Okay? You hurt me. You said blank. Okay? That doesn't change the character of that person. Does it change my character because I'm a developing teacher? No, okay? Although I took it that way. Yes, I did, okay? It doesn't. Does it change their character because one day they were kind of angry and they said something? No, it doesn't, especially if it's someone you care about. And number 3, we need to be open to conversations and asking questions. And you know what also is helpful? Even when you're the hurt one? These little guys right here, listening. You know what? It could have been you're in a big room of people and someone said something and you thought it was directed at you and you're like, whoa. Maybe you just don't know the whole situation. Maybe you need to listen. Maybe you need to have a conversation. All right? So the worship team is going to come up here. They're going to sing one last song, all right? I know there's not a whole lot for us to this wasn't a life-changing message probably, okay? I'm aware of that. But I'm hoping that as you leave this morning, you can begin to think of what are those relationships right now that I've kind of pushed to the side? What are those relationships that I've kind of had an issue with lately? And how can I begin to mend it if I care about them, if I want them in my life? All right, so if you don't mind, we're going to stand. Scotty and Micah are going to be up here. If you need prayer, conflict is hard. Okay, it's not easy to put a Band-Aid on it, okay? We need to go further than that. So if you need some prayer, they're going to be up here. We're going to sing one last song, and then we'll dismiss, all right?
I've carried a burden for too long on my own. I wasn't created to let it all go. I see it now, laying it down, and I know that I need you. Run to the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again. Choose all my conditions. Your son for redemption. The price for my heart. I don't have the context for that kind of love. I don't understand. I can't comprehend. All I know is I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, the reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again. My heart has been in your sight long before my first breath, running into your arms, running to life from death. And I feel this rush deep in my chest. Your mercy is calling out. Just as I am, you pull me in, and I know I need you now. I run to the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again. I'll run to the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with my hiding, no reason to wait. My heart found a surgeon, my soul found a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, again and again. Oh, again and again.
Man, what if we make a deal right here, okay? We're gonna make a pinky promise that from here on out, we're not gonna allow conflict to break up our most important relationships. That we're gonna be the bigger people, that it's on us. If we are Christ followers, if we're saying we love Jesus like we do, it's on us to go fix it. It's on us. We're not gonna call out their character. We're gonna say, hey man, that kind of hurt my feelings. Can we talk about it? Done. All right? Being real is hard. But wouldn't you rather be real than be fake? Wouldn't you rather be real, fully human, sometimes saying the wrong things, but going and fixing it? Let me pray for you. Lord, we're thankful that we have your example to live by, that you were constantly a person that was mending relationships, that you were not a savior full of grudges and conflict, that you came and you died for us, fully knowing that we're knuckleheads, Lord. And help us to navigate the river of conflict with our friends and our family, those that are close to us. Help us to be brave. Help us to have tough conversations because it means something. It fixes things. Maybe our relationships don't have to end, but it starts something new. And Lord, we love you and we thank you for the opportunity just to know more about you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. We love you guys. If there's anything that we can do for you, please let us know. Have a great Sunday.